hope you're ready for this.
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn. Hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Needs a brew? Oh, I do. Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
So hello and welcome to the 49th episode of the Nexus Trolls, a podcast all about Heroes of the Storm, part of the Trolls.gg podcasting network. I'm your host, Daz Kilius, and I'm joined today, as always, by LiQuiud. How's it going, LiQuiud?
Good. I don't know if you can say as always after last week,
I
but
know.
good.
Well, you were there in spirit. You were just asleep at the wheel the whole time.
You missed an opportunity, too. I totally told my wife, you should have had Anna dart me.
I mean, I would love to put a graphic like that in. At least the show was called LiQuiud Gets Hit with a Sleep Dart.
Right.
Of course, instead of just lasting 3 seconds, it lasted a whole 2 hours.
It was a long sleep dart.
But we're at episode 49, bud. Can you believe it? We're close to 50.
Crazy. We're almost at a year.
Halfway to 100, too. That's going to be a milestone and a half. We're going to have to plan something special for episode 100, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so for those that you couldn't guess yet, and especially if you're listening on audio, Mystic couldn't join us today. He had a previous engagement that he has to deal with. So it's just me and LiQuiud holding down the fort today. But that's okay, LiQuiud, right? We can handle this ourselves.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We can do this.
Yes, we can.
But you know the real tragedy?
What's that?
We don't get another Mystic Shroud tweet.
I guess so. We can't hassle him for having a substandard Twitter account.
Right.
Well, we do have, for those watching, we do have Sock Puppet Mystic up. It's like the perfect. If you're listening to this in the audio, definitely check out the VOD because this Sock Puppet looks kind of exactly like Mystic too. It's a little scary.
I mean, Schizophrenic nailed it by calling it Muppet Shroud. So.
And Muppet Shroud he is. But either way, without Mystic or with him, we've got a great show. We're going to be talking a lot about BlizzCon. We didn't get to talk a lot about HGC last week because LiQuiud wasn't here, but now we're going to make up for it tonight by talking about BlizzCon, talking about all the teams coming in, maybe do a bit of a preview of what LiQuiud thinks you should be watching out for BlizzCon, not to mention the Crucible and everything coming up too. BlizzCon schedule is up. We're going to be talking about that a bit. And we're going to be spending a lot of time on Volskaya Foundry, talking about some strats and some timings and things you can consider when going into that map in the rotation. But before we start the show, we want to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/trollsgg. We're going to do this no matter how many people support the show, no matter what. However, if you're looking to toss us a few bucks, it's always appreciated. You can head over to patreon.com/trollsgg and you can show your support over there. And for our troll of the week this week, it's Suri. Now, a little bit of an anecdote. Her handle on Battle.net used to be JDog, which apparently was because Suri was picked up by the censorship bot that you've got in Battle.net. And she took well over a year of petitioning Blizzard to actually get her handle changed, but she successfully did it a couple days ago. She was a new patron of ours last week as well. So for 2 reasons, good job getting your battle tag in there properly. I don't know why Suri would catch the censors. Maybe someone else knows why. Maybe it's like a swear word in different language or something. Who knows? But Suri, thanks so much for the support and thanks for being a friend of the show. You are officially our troll of the week. So LiQuiud, we've got a little bit of news. So let's play the baba.
Someday, this will make a great story.
So BlizzCon schedule is up. And LiQuiud, I think you said that doesn't really matter for you, right?
Well, no. I mean, it's important that the BlizzCon schedule is up because then it's obvious to me I will not be leaving Hall B for the entirety of the event. I will be there during opening ceremony. As soon as I can get into Hall B, I will be in Hall B. I'll leave at the end of the day, get back in there as soon as I can in morning day 2. And then if you look at the schedule, HGC actually ends during closing ceremonies. So you guys will have to tell me how the concert is. I don't think they've announced who it is yet. But you have to tell me how the concert is because I will still be sitting there cheering on what I hope is Fnatic versus a Chinese team in the grand finals.
My big question is, what's the saving seat policy? Because I've got a key in with someone who's willing to save seats. Oh man, if I could just waltz in, walk up to the front, and sit next to you, I'd feel like I'd piss off a lot of people, though.
I suspect you might. I think on day 2, that's probably a little bit larger of a struggle. But
we'll have to see how it goes. Maybe I'll have to make a full like wax mannequin of myself that's very realistic and lifelike, so we can just put it in the seat and people won't know the difference. Just
but then what are you gonna do at the end? Are you gonna like melt it down when the day is over? Like what? How does that work?
I'll take some magic lessons to like poof in or whatever, and like do like a real replacement with my wax double.
Okay.
But either way, we got this. So the BlizzCon schedule's up. It's ram packed. I can't believe how much stuff they squish in to 2 days.
They squish a lot of stuff in.
They sure do, and it's gonna be tough. Like I'm gonna want to go to the opening ceremonies. I'm gonna want to go on some of the panels, and I'm gonna want to watch as much HOTS as I can too. Not to mention, I'd love to check out some Overwatch too. Overwatch is getting the main hall now, I believe, instead of Starcraft.
No, are they though? So I was looking at the schedule and it was hard to decide because I sort of felt like they were doing. It was just listed as arena.
Yeah, well, I guess the arena is like the big. Like, see, this is me and LiQuiuD have never been to BlizzCon, so I'm sure people are gonna be like, no, that's not the way it is. But right? I saw a lot of people tweeting out that Overwatch is taking over StarCraft's traditional spot in the arena, which I'm assuming is the larger esports venue. With good cause. Like Overwatch is extremely popular. Like we're hearing a lot more recently about the new Overwatch League, which, oh man, some of the stuff they're doing there, I kind of wish they were doing with HGC too. I'm sure you can talk to that. Right, more better than I could too, but the more like the traditional sports kind of format and setup that I'm looking at, I'm like, this is going to take esports in a really good direction. Hopefully some of it will trickle down to Heroes, I think, for the following year too. So we also have a hot fix that got dropped. Not a ton in here, but a few kind of key things. One of the biggest ones is there was a bug on Volskaya, his Tailwind trait, where he gets movement speed if he hasn't taken damage for a while. I believe that was permanently on before this patch, and then they just fixed that, so now it will properly go on cooldown after it takes damage. So Volskaya might see a little dip in his win rate, because that is a pretty important thing to have on cooldown. Medevac can no longer pick up allied heroes on the way to an intended destination. I knew there were some medevac bugs, but I didn't actually know you could do this. Like, do a little pit stop, pick someone up, and keep going. Did you encounter that at all?
I haven't encountered it, but I knew I've seen many of videos showing it, but I haven't actually encountered it at all.
I heard there were some weird medevac pathing things I think were fixed maybe a couple patches ago, but I didn't know about this one specifically. We've also got a change to Gazlo's turrets, Probius's proton cannons, and Tychus's laser. I say change, but more just a fix. Minions and mercs will now target them properly. It was a big kind of contention. I think people are saying, like, towers, minions, mercs, they're not properly focusing like Gazlo turrets. Well, obviously Probius photon cannons and Tychus's laser, but now that's been fixed. There's a couple other fixes too. We got patch notes link in our show notes as well. Feel free to check that out. A few other things of minor note as well.
Well, the other, so I would point out, or the one thing I would like to add is that the patches were there were so many little bugs that Open Division North America Finals were supposed to be played on live, but have moved to the tournament realm because of all these bugs.
Yeah, and it seems like the past few major patches have introduced quite a few bugs. Like even being in Chair League and having to go through and see who's banned every week. It's not something I'm used to. Like we had problems with Jaina. Uther was having issues. Diva was having some issues at 1.2 over the past month or so. Like we're talking about like Medevac too, having these like weird quirks. It seems like, I'm not sure if Blizzard's rushing things out or maybe they're like a little bit behind in their testing. But
so I read something that said with the Ana patch, they reorganized a lot of stuff, like how the files worked and where everything was content-wise. So I could see that being the case. Like that type of change causes those kinds of problems. I will also agree with you about the Chair League stuff. There were many of nights where one Mega Man fan was like quickly going to ban heroes as we were reading through patch notes and like, this is still bugged, this is not bugged. This is what we found on Roll It, this Reddit, this is what Open Division is saying, this is what Heroes Hype is saying, and like trying to consolidate all that information together so that we could make sure Chair League was not suffering from those bugs either.
That being said, the game's no stranger to bugs. I remember Rainer's Hyperion being bugged for maybe like a couple of months where it was doing insane amount of damage, boosting his win rate like crazy, maybe about a year ago. So these things happen. I mean, Blizzard will fix them. It really mostly impacts your more like, amateur pro scenes where they have to be concerned about bans. Other than that, it's like, you might be a little bit OP for, a few weeks while they're trying to fix it or such, but it's usually not going to break the game or anything, right? That being said, I have noticed a bug, personally, many times actually, because I've been playing the Brawl quite a bit. Have you dipped your toe into the Brawl?
I have not played the Brawl at all.
It is a lot of fun. It's ARAM based on a Volskaya map tile set, and basically, you almost always have a Triglav protector up, and like once both of them are destroyed, maybe like 10 seconds later, another one spawns. So it gives you a lot of practice in the Triglav protector. And I was playing it a lot, not only because it was really fun, but also I wanted to get some experience with the Triglav protector because Volskaya Industries doesn't have an accelerated appearance rate and rotation. So I feel like, 1 in every 12 games or whatever it is you play Volskaya isn't enough to get to figure out how that mech works. So one bug I noticed anyhow, and this happened a few times, if someone got into the mech prior to the game starting, and this actually happened to me once in a live game too, not even in the Brawl, it was just in the middle of the game. You get into the pilot seat, and all of a sudden, like, you don't have your QWE heads up display anywhere. You can't press any buttons. You're stuck in the protector until it expires or someone blows it up. And this was extremely frustrating, especially on the Brawl, because your Triglav protector starts in like your base. So you're sitting there in your keep. You're stuck in this protector, like you're basically 4v5 until the other team gets to your keep to destroy the Triglav protector. But anyhow, just another one of the many bugs that I'm sure Blizzard will address with a hot fix, maybe next week. But most importantly, we've got a new skin that just came out. Have you purchased it yet?
Oh my God, no. So today's been one of those days where I was like working nonstop. As soon as I stopped working, I started doing show notes for this and for Troll and HCC tomorrow. So I have not had time to go in, but I will be purchasing Deathwing Diva because, oh my God, Deathwing Diva. Gotta have that.
She looks amazing. And I think I said on the past show too, I love how when she does bunny hop even, like she's got little mini wings that flap too. Yeah. Keep her going.
The messed up thing is I really don't even get to play Diva that often, but I will definitely get this skin so that I have it.
So when Deathwing gets announced as a hero, is this going to be super confusing for people then?
No, they're not going to put Deathwing in.
You just crushed a million people's souls.
I mean, I want Deathwing. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think we're going to see Deathwing. Or you know what? I shouldn't say that. I think every other dragon aspect will be in the game before Deathwing.
Well, I hope you're wrong, sir. And you know what? I think there's precedent.
I do too.
I think there's precedent for having like similar style skins. Like you've got a lot of Zergish skins.
I'm gonna go ahead and tinfoil hat myself though, because I believe that to be the case.
Yeah, well, either way, like I said, there's a lot of like Zerg skins out there. It's not like people confusing Butcherlisk with Zagara or anything too, because their silhouettes are completely different, or like multiple Protoss and such too. It's not the end of the world. I think if they bring out Deathwing later on, it's not like you're bringing out Widowmaker when Nova's got a Widowmaker skin, which would be exactly the same silhouette.
Exactly.
All right, well, I think that's about it for the news today, which brings us into LiQiuD's eSports Corner.
Hey yo, how you doing? It's time for LiQiuD's eSports Corner. That's right. And you're gonna want to stick around for this.
Take it away, LiQiuD.
All right. So with the lack of eSports Corner last week, we're gonna go over a little bit of some older news too. But before I jump into that, I'm going to go ahead and say that Playing Ducks has left Playing Ducks. The team that was formerly known as Playing Ducks is back to playing as Diamond Skin because they have not been paid by their organization for 4 months. And that was a problem for them. Which I totally get, right? Like, I totally understand that. They should have definitely done that. Also, a little bit on the old news since I wasn't here last week. Team Zealots got picked up by Wish Esports, which was awesome. Trent put together a little post about that where he interviewed it wasn't Mopsio. Now I don't remember who he interviewed on Team Zealots, now Wish Esports, but he also interviewed Wish, and it made a lot of sense. At first, both Bags and I were questioning whether or not it made sense for that to have happened, but no, it totally made sense for Wish to pick that up. Also, we got the dates for the China Gold Club World Championships. I hate the name of that tournament, which is typically where you see BlizzCon teams go to China for a week. I know none of that's in there, man. I'm sorry. So anyway, that's where you typically see BlizzCon teams go to China for a week. That's where we saw the demise of Cloud9, or Cloud9 right after they won the BlizzCon that year. That's going to run from November 27th to December 10th, and there should be 8 teams based on previous seasons. So we're looking forward to that. And then let's see. I think the only other thing I want to cover is all the BlizzCon teams now that we have them. So I'm going to jump over to what I did before. So before I get to BlizzCon teams, Night 3 of the NA Open Division starts tonight at 9 p.m. Definitely check that out. Troll and HCC isn't on tonight. We're going to be on tomorrow with a special show covering all of the Crucible action coming up this weekend. And we're going to have Tetra and Hero Physio on joining us. So it'll be a 4-man show going over strictly the Crucible tomorrow and discussing, who's going to face who and what those games might shape up to look like. We do know EU teams, which EU teams are going to face which EU teams. And next step is to know which NA teams will face which ones, and we should have that answer tomorrow, since the NA teams are gonna finish out tonight and go from there. All right, give me 1 second. I feel bad because I'm not ready with this.
Well,
there we go. All right, sorry. Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was gonna stall for time. I was
I
thinking of something to be like, maybe I can babble nonsense for about 10 seconds while LiQuiud tries to figure out what he's doing. But you actually recovered pretty fast there, so I'll let you continue.
Yeah, I was almost to where I needed to be. All right, so from Korea, we do have that's right, they totally screwed this one up and threw me for a loop. We have Tempest, we have MVP Black, and we have L5. If you did not see the Mighty versus Tempest set from playoffs last weekend, definitely go check that out. It was probably the greatest set in Korea that I've seen this phase. And like the ending, like it came down to the last team fight. Legitimately, it came down to the last team fight of game 5. So definitely check that out. It's been linked on Reddit like all over the place too, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. And then from China, we have CE Beyond the Game, which was China's Open Division team, qualified for BlizzCon. So I was definitely hoping Wish Esports could pull the same thing off. They didn't quite do it. But and then SPT. So 3 really solid Chinese teams. I don't think Beyond the Game is going to get out of group stage. I think they're not going to make it to the BlizzCon stage. But the rest of the teams will have to see how that works out. And then from EU, we have Fnatic and Dignitas. And we did have Team Expert defeat Wish Esports to take their place in BlizzCon qualifications. And then for NA, we have Tempo Storm. Like if you didn't see Tempo Storm this past weekend that we just had, like after watching Mighty Tempest, go watch Tempo Storm's games against GFE, or watch Tempo Storm the day before against why am I going blank on who they played? It was amazing. Like the Tempo Storm we saw this weekend was not the Tempo Storm we've watched for the last 4 weeks. Their boot camp that they traveled to do definitely paid off. So definitely go check that out. So they'll join Roll20 as well as Team Freedom. So those are our major region teams. And then minor regions, we got Deadly Kittens, Red Canids, Darksided, and Soul Torturers. Darkside is the interesting story for me. They just won because their qualifications finished up Saturday night, if I remember correctly. And Robodoba, who used to be on Nomia and has gone to this will be the 3rd BlizzCon, but went to the last 2 BlizzCons, won on Darksided, and now he's going to his 3rd BlizzCon. So, it didn't matter that Nomia kind of as a team fell apart. It was Nomia and Darksided in the end. Darksided ended up winning that game. So all good games to go check out. Definitely check them out. They were fun to watch. But that's for HGC. HGC BlizzCon. And then going over to the Crucible, over in China, Hot's Lady is just going to get relegated because China doesn't do they do a promotion relegation system, but not quite like Crucible. So the top tier teams get in, the bottom tier teams get sent down. That's just how it works. Then in Korea, we have RRR and Raven on the bubble. We have not figured out who the 2 teams are that are playing, but they should be playing this weekend. So hopefully we'll find out soon. In EU, we have Team Good Guys playing Leftovers. So Leftovers got their pick in and decided they wanted Team Good Guys. And Polska Pomieta from the Open Division EU is going to play Diamond Skin. Now, if you watched this show 3 weeks ago, I talked about who the leading EU teams were. And while Leftovers definitely got through and solidified their spot in the Crucible as the number one team, there were a number of teams that we thought might do good. Run It Down, Bushido. Polska Pomieta said, that spot is ours, and they took it. So that was kind of cool to watch. I watched all those games. I watched all the NA Open Division games up till tonight. I got to watch tonight's. I'll watch those tomorrow. But whoever wins tonight will be facing Even in Death or Lag Force. And then second place after tonight will get the other team. The other interesting thing I will add, oh my God, I lost my train of thought.
I was going to say, I just saw the train fall off the tracks.
The train just like fell right off the tracks because I lost. Oh my God.
Well, while you're trying to get that thought together, I've got a lot of follow-up questions for you.
Excellent. Shoot.
What were the biggest disappointments? I'm assuming Gale Force is probably amongst them.
No, okay. So what's interesting, I want to say yes because I love Gale. I love 4/5 of Gale Force. Like 4/5 of that team, I'm like a huge fan of. I think
you just say you don't like one person. That's the other. I like how you're.
Well, so like
K1
so Pro
positive.
is on the bubble for me because like I feel like K1 Pro is a little overhyped, and yeah, take it for a grain of salt. It's just me. I also think I would have liked to have seen them go a different direction other than King Caffeine, but I understand why they went that direction. I just would have liked them to go a different direction. There's a lot of problems with that team, and it's not raw. It's not like individual talent. There are just other problems with that team that they need to work out. And because they haven't worked it out yet, I did expect Tempo Storm to beat them. In fact, I expected whoever came up through there to beat GFE. I didn't think GFE was going to win. So no, I wanted them to win, but I also didn't expect them to win. So,
do you think we're going to see a roster apocalypse in the near future as soon as people can start changing their rosters for next year?
So that's a good question. And the reason I say that's a good question is simply because they can still only make 2 changes right now. So like your roster apocalypse is limited. Yeah, I think they'll probably make changes. The interesting thing will be whether they make the right changes. Fan is individually Fan and Udall are both very mechanically skilled. All right, I think Akaface is the only thing that doesn't need to change. But I think with Fan and Udall on the same team, like personality-wise, I just don't know that that's ever going to work to the level they want it to. And that's nothing against either of those two people. It's just I don't know that they'll ever be able to play together at the level that the organization wants them to play at. But they still don't have a coach. And ultimately, with a lot of these teams that we watch, you can tell the teams that have a coach and someone that's going to say, this is what we're doing. I am individually responsible for driving this part of the direction of the team, and those that don't, right? You can see it with Dig after picking up Navi. You can see it with Team Freedom and their turnaround. Like you can see what happens when the team gets a coach that's going to be solely responsible for those types of things. And until that happens, we won't see either of those things. And then real quick, before you ask your next question, I'm just going to address what Schizophrenic is saying. I too have heard those rumors, and I think that's probably what's going to happen. Fan definitely wanted a coach. There were a number of names of people that tried to become the coach for GFE, and GFE never did what they needed to turn that around, or to like make that happen, which is very frustrating because Fan was right. They needed a coach. They should have gotten a coach. The whole team, like they're individually gifted players. They needed that coach tying it together.
Yeah, and I mean, a friend of the show, Cavalier Guest, who's guested twice in the past 10 episodes or so, I think he would be a perfect fit for that organization as a coach too. And I know that he's put his hat in as potentially being a candidate for it. Is it a matter of GFE as an organization just decide they don't want to coach, or is this a player decision?
The players would never say if it was a player decision. Those players, the GFE guys are a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Self-controlled. They're not gonna like throw someone under the bus, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they will to a certain degree, but not nearly as much as some of the other teams that are like airing dirty laundry out in public. So I do have to give GFE props for that.
They seem to be a fairly well structured org, from what I've seen, and like they have a very good like setup. I'm actually surprised they don't have a coach, considering they seem to have a lot of the other spots of in place. Like they've got PR people, they've got like a manager, they've got a very good
they're like
structure
a
around
full blown org, right?
Yeah.
And how do you not have a coach as a full blown org? Like
Just
that's
seems
the thing
strange
that
to me.
baffles me.
So that's why I'm assuming that maybe it was maybe someone approached the players and players like, we don't want a coach, is the only thing I could think of, unless it was either that or a funding issue. I don't know.
It could have been.
Yeah.
It's a good
all
question.
All speculation, I guess. LiQuiud, you're supposed to have all the answers. That's what
you know what I mean. I would love to have all the answers. I just don't. Right. I wish I did. Unfortunately, I just don't. So here we are.
so how do you think BlizzCon's going to shake out then?
Okay. So actually, I got into some little tweets about this earlier today. I faithfully believe that if
I want to hear what your heart's telling you, and then I want to hear what your head's telling you, because I'm sure those are two different things.
All right. No, you know what? They kind of line up, and I hate to say this because I'm an NA boy at heart, but Fnatic's gonna win. So at least the West will win. There's that. I think all three NA teams have a good chance of getting into the top 4, but they will not all get there. But all three have the ability to do so. I think if a Chinese team, whether it's SPT or CE, can get their entire roster on a visa, they will end up
good luck, right?
in the top 4 again and possibly win. But I think Fnatic wins. I would love to agree with Schizophrenic and say Roll20 Freedom would be the grand final. I just in no way see 2 NA teams being the grand final. I would love for that to happen. That would make me so ecstatic. But realistic, even my heart knows that that's not a possibility. So no, I think Fnatic wins. I think the NA team one NA team will finish top 4. One Korean team will finish top 4. The other spot is up for grabs unless SPT or CE come with a full roster, and then they will be the last top 4 team. Which will be cool, right? It'll be cool to have a team per region type thing in the top 4.
Oh, for sure. Do you think it's safe to say that Roll20 is probably the hometown favorite?
You can't underestimate the amount of fans Team Freedom has.
Fair enough. I've just seen a lot of people putting their support out for Roll20, so that's why I was thinking that might be the team that everyone at BlizzCon is going to be going absolutely crazy for, as far as they get through the tournament.
It's a good story, right? Roll20 is a great story. If you think about the entirety of their run, Chew8 put together a team and they are like, we're doing this, right? They qualify. Chew8's like, you know what? I can't do this. I make more streaming. So he bails. So instead we get Prismat. They make, a change during the phase 1 and phase 2. They look absolutely amazing when they're allowed to play their game right now during phase 2. Finishing at the top of NA, they had solid performances everywhere they've gone. I just don't know if they're quite ready to turn the corner for an international. Now, having said that, what would be cool is if they did pick up a coach, because while they may have talked to Cav, they have not signed any coach yet. But if they did pick up a coach and they did turn that corner and come out and surprise everybody, they still have just under 3 weeks to be ready for BlizzCon. They could be boot camping like crazy with a coach, preparing not necessarily all in one site boot camp, but they could do a virtual boot camp this week, go do a real boot camp next week, and be ready to just come out with like a vengeance that no one's seen before. The problem with that, okay, schizophrenic just made me like swoon. But the problem with that is that in order to do those things, you have to have solid scrim partners. And while I'm not saying they can't get solid scrim partners, now you're showing your hand too, right? And so it's like it's this double-edged sword type thing where you always kind of struggle with, well, what do I do here? And if I want to show my strat now, someone else knows my strat, and like it's this weird like thing. Anyway, if they swapped Prismat for Fan, that would kind of be amazing. That would like be awesome.
Well, like you said, we got 3 weeks until BlizzCon too, or is it only 3 weeks?
Yes, it's only 3 weeks.
My lord.
Well, no. I'm sorry. It's 4 weeks till BlizzCon. We fly out 4 weeks from today, but in 3 weeks they do group play.
Gotcha.
So there's group play the week before we get there, and then yeah.
And like you said, a lot can change in 3 weeks from like a team's perspective too. Like even
right.
You were talking about it before, like team just coming out of nowhere and like doing a lot better than expected because they go to a solid boot camp. They get a lot out of that, or
right.
like just like a lot can change in 3 weeks, and momentums can shift. Like some teams that might be favorites might start getting a little bit too comfortable and slipping off too. So I think there might be some Cinderella stories that there usually is one Cinderella story somewhere. So hopefully we'll see something cool kind of come out when actually BlizzCon starts, that Cinderella story to like take hold of the audience too.
So before you keep going though, we hadn't finished. There was one other thing I want to cover.
Yeah, sure.
Because I already see you scrolling. All right, so the only thing I was gonna say is over in NA Open Division, we had some crazy things happen. Heroes Hearth got knocked out into the bottom bracket. Nobody thought that was gonna happen, but Imported Support is looking absolutely amazing right now. They knocked out Trademark Gaming 2-0. They knocked out Donkeys R Us 3-0. They beat HHE 3-2, putting Heroes Hearth down in the bottom bracket, which will then have a chance to come back up to the top. So you gotta watch tonight. Tonight's gonna be amazing.
I'll try and catch some games. So is that the end of the esports corner?
Yes, that's the end. I'm sorry.
I guess guys.
Well, no, you know what? No, it's not. I'm sorry. Also coming up, we have Heroes Hype Tempo Storm Season 3 Finals next Wednesday. Check those out. Those will be good. That'll probably, I can't remember if we're doing trolling on Wednesday or not. If we are, it's probably the same time, but that's cool. You can multi-Twitch us. Definitely support your amateur scene. Like, it's helping grow the professional scene. We see this so much in Europe, and it's happening here. Saying that, Heroes Hearth. Wait, no, that's not right. The EU version of Chair League, which I'm totally like struggling with the name right now. I apologize. Signups are open for that too. Which, go support them if you're in Europe. Heroes Hype is actually doing an EU tournament as well. They're expanding into EU. Check that out. Heroes Lounge. Thank you, Twitch chat. You guys are my heroes. Heroes Lounge Season 5 is open. Chair League, we're looking at more changes to do during the offseason. The last night of finals are tomorrow night for season, I think this is season 4, right?
Maybe 5. I gotta say, little personal story. My team was in the semifinals. We just got knocked out last week. I'm not sure if you happen to catch it at all, LiQuiud, but there was a 1% core.
I saw
little race to the end. Oh, that was heartbreaking. Losing out on a 1% core. It wasn't the match game, but it would have made it because it went to 3. If we won that one, we would have been in the finals next week too, or I guess tomorrow. But still, like, Chair League's a great place to have a great time and get some competitive heroes in. If you're looking at it, we had one of our members just like tweet in our Discord, or not tweet, but message in our Discord saying like this is his first time in Hero League. He had a blast, most fun he's ever had in playing HOTS. And if you are looking to get into like that more social aspect, play with a group of 5 on a regular basis, definitely check out Chair League. You don't even have to be good. Like the first year the first season that I played in, I think it was Chair League Season 2, I just brought my 2 brothers in. They had maybe like 100 games experience. We picked up Shiz, actually, one of the former hosts of the show, and a couple other people. and we had a blast. Like, we had lost most of the games. Most of the games we won were forfeits. So I mean, but we
I
saw.
remember that.
We had a blast, and I mean, it's one of the reasons the show exists, and it's one of the reasons I probably still play HOTS today. Is it keeps it fresh, keeps it exciting, keeps it competitive too. So that's my little plug for Chair League, anyhow.
One, like, even if you want something more serious, you can go like Heroes Hype takes free agents and they try to make a team. Whether it's Latin America, NA, or Europe, they try to make a team out of the free agents to put everybody together. So like there's a lot of opportunities out there. And if you're ever not sure and you ever can't find one, I will be more than happy to try and help you out. I've tried to help our boy Super Dave out. Hit me on Twitter at LiQuidGG, LiQiuDGG, or join us on our Discord and message me there. I will be more than happy to give you suggestions on where you can look, depending on the skill level and your commitment level. I know teams all the way from even like what Daz was mentioning in his first season of Chair League, where we're going to get together for one night a week and just play, and whatever happens, happens. All the way up to the team I'm managing right now, where it's 5 people playing 5 nights a week from, 4 p.m. Eastern or 4 p.m. Pacific to 8 p.m. Pacific every week.
And
so
yeah, Dorshan Chat brings out a really good point too. I mean, like Hero League and even Team League to a certain extent, it's so much better playing in an organized environment. Hero League in particular, I used to be like a Hero League warrior, playing like most of my competitive side was like my outlet was Hero League. Ever since I discovered Team League and organized play, that's just gone. Like Hero League is so toxic and negative place to be. I was like, you know what? I don't need to take this anymore. I want to play with some friends, queue up as 5, have a good time, and Team League and Chair League, that kind of thing. The amateur scene is a great way to do that. So, I mean, you talked about our Trolls GG Discord. If you head over to trolls.gg/Discord, you can get the information to join our Discord server there. There's been a lot of chatter there recently. You guys have been talking a lot of HGC over the past few days, past weeks. So head over there, jump in, chat with us, chat with LiQuiD. It's always a great chat in there. So moving along, we've got you like that, hey? My soul be like, okay, I think it's time to continue.
I was about to say, okay, I think I'm done now.
I was trying to read the body language. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Volskaya Foundry. Myself and Mystic went over Anna in detail last week, but we did notably not talk about Volskaya Foundry. One of the big reasons being because Volskaya is one of 12, 13, 14. I don't even know how many maps we have now. So if you play regularly, it's not like you come across Volskaya very often, making it difficult to form a solid opinion without a lot of playtime. So we took an extra week, developed some opinions, looked at timings, did a lot of analysis. So now we're going to talk about what we think about Volskaya and the proper ways to play it. Now, little side mark addendum here. There's not a lot of pro play you've seen. There's been some show matches on Volskaya, but not a ton of pros have come out with their strategies and such for Volskaya. So I'm sure a lot of this stuff is going to change. I'm sure Cavalier Guest somewhere is shedding a tear for what we're about to say. I mean, it would have been great to have him on the show here to break down Volskaya, but you know what? You got me and LiQuiD to do it for you today. Hopefully that's going to be good enough. So Volskaya, for those of you who haven't had a chance to play it yet, it's a 3-lane map. All the pros are sighing a collective sigh of relief with that news. They're pretty sick of 2-lane maps.
Thank God.
It's got a point control objective. And then if you get the point control, and it's very Overwatch style. It's like King of the Hill. You got to make sure you contest the point and control the point for a certain amount of time. You get a 2-person piloted vehicle, the Triglav Protector, or Triglav Protector, I'm not sure how you say it in Russian, as the reward. So let's take a look at the map. We've got 3 lanes. The top lane is the most important lane. It's got 2 mercs and a support camp, and these are the only pushing mercs on the map. We've got 5 mercs on the map. There's 2 merc camps along the top to push. There's 1 support camp along the top, and there's 2 turret camps between the middle and bottom lane. So this makes, typically, actually, the solo lane will be the bottom lane. There's a few reasons for that. The safest rotation on this map is between middle and top. So that's typically where you get your 4-man rotation going, or your rotations. But bottom is the safest lane because of the way that the conveyor belts are placed and the distance between mid and bottom. The conveyor belts are actually, if you look at the map, they're in the direction that goes from bottom to top. So it's easier to get from bottom to mid as opposed from mid to bottom. You've got to do a long rotation, or you've got less gank opportunities. One of the nice things about this map is the lanes are nice and big too, so it's a little bit harder to pull off ganks because you generally see them coming from a little bit of a distance. Okay, so at 2 minutes after you've got your solo laner settled, you've got your 2-lane 4-man roaming squad settled. At 2 minutes, a couple things happen. This isn't a map like Cursed Hollow where at 2 minutes you can do the mercs right away, because at 2 minutes, that's the time the objective will be announced. You've got 20 seconds to report, and it's actually really important to report the objective on time here, and I'll tell you why. This is something that I actually didn't realize until I think maybe late last week. If you capture control of the objective, even if it's contested, it will still tick up percentage for your team. So you want to make sure that you're the first team to get the control of the point for 8 seconds, whatever it is, to actually put it in your favor, because you can hold it all the way up to 99%, even with someone else on the other team in the objective that whole time. Once it's 99%, you go into overtime, so you have to have full control for the extra 1% to get the Troglodyte Protector, but until then, you don't even need that. So that's why it's so important to be the first team there with control. It's not like Infernal Shrines. You can't show up late, be like, oh, they've only got 5. We'll finish this merc camp. We'll go up there. You got to be really careful on your timing, because it's a huge advantage to the objective if you're the first team set up with control. Other things, the turret and support camps are extremely valuable for this objective. Those turrets, they're silent but deadly, and they take up a lot of of soak too, in terms of a lot of HP. So if you pop those down on objectives, you got the support camp. It's almost like having another half support on your team. Make sure you get those. You don't even have to time it too. Just after the first objective is done, get a turret camp, get the support camp if you can, if you've got the opportunity to. You can hold on to those as long as you don't die before the next objective. You can bring in the next objective. We usually talk about merc camp timings. It just doesn't matter as long as you get it before, because you hold on to it. It's not like it's pushing something. Whereas the merc camps, you're going to want to time those to pop as soon as the objective's announced. You want to make sure the other team has to make that tough decision. Do we go clear the mercs, or do we go contest the point? And because it's, like I said before, it's so important to get that point right away. If you have to make them make that decision early on, be like, okay, Doc is gonna have to stay top lane, clear those mercs and come down, you're gonna have that extra advantage getting to the point, securing the point before it starts. So in terms of timing, it actually is 2 minutes and 30 seconds from after the Troglodyte Protector is dead, explodes, expires, or dies, to the next objective being announced. So you can make sure you keep a mental note of what timing that is, because it's pretty obvious how that next objective is going to spawn. It also goes mid first, then top, then bottom, and I'm not sure how it goes after that, but that's the first 3 at least are very set in stone. So it's important to note that even your second objective spawn, the mercs aren't going to be as much value. Where the mercs are going to get most value is on the 3rd objective spawn, because the mercs are going to be pushing the opposite lane from the objective. Okay.
It should. I believe it repeats after that.
Oh, does it? Okay, I wasn't sure if it got random or not. I didn't take long enough. I mean, there's a long time. There's not a ton of objectives, because 2 minutes and 30 seconds between objectives. Plus, it takes a while to cap it. There's actually not a ton of objectives that actually spawn during the game. I think Bakery was saying he was happy that the bottom objective will probably only spawn once during the course of the game, because that 3rd objective, the bottom one, there's crazy conveyor belts. They're going kind of into opposing circles, so it makes it really hectic, almost like.
And the reason he said that was because of the order, and the odds on you getting to that 6th spawn. I mean, you're super late game at that point, right?
Oh, for sure. So some more timings too. Okay, it takes 20 seconds for the objective to spawn after it's been announced. If you're standing on it uncontested from the moment it's announced, it takes 58 seconds to capture the point. I believe that breaks down to 8 seconds to actually get control, and then 50 seconds to actually go from 0 to 100%. So it's a long time that you've got to be standing on that point. And if you've got solid control of the point, maybe you've wiped a couple of players on the other team, you definitely don't have to have more than one person in there. It doesn't go any faster. So one thing you want to make sure you're doing is you're not losing XP soak. Usually you can soak at least 2 lanes safely around the objective while that's happening. Try and be a little bit cognizant of that. Okay, so let's say you win the point. The Troglodyte Protector comes out. There's been a lot of discussion about how strong is it? Should we siege with it? Should we team fight with it? how do we go about it? Who should we put in it? How should we like operate this thing? So I'm going to tell you my impressions. LiQuiud will chime in as we go as well.
Yes, because I disagree with yours. So let's do this.
Yes, and that's good because we can have a healthy discussion here. So first question is, Triglav Protector pops up. Who do you put in? A lot of people are like, well, you put it in the front line because it's going to be front line. Well, you put in the front line, there's not a lot of peel on the Triglav Protector. Who's going to protect your back line? You don't want to necessarily put the support in because he's the one healing anyone who's outside of it. So what I've seen and what I agree with is putting your bruiser, your second frontliner in there, as well as a high cooldown mage. Like if you've got someone who's got like a Jaina or something in there, and then you can still have your EDC peeling for your backline, your secondary DPS, and then if you've got two supports, the second support, yeah, for sure. I'm talking about like more of a standard like traditional comp. But one of the great things about the Triglav Protector too, and this is very unique to it as opposed to other vehicles, is that you can pop out of it whenever you want. It's not going to destroy the objective. It's not like a Dragonite. If you cancel it, it's done. You pop out, it still stays there. You can even switch gunner seats. You press the D button.
That's what I was going to say. You almost like, I think what we're going to end up seeing a lot of is single person Triglav Protector, where I'm going to walk it up to where I need to. I'm going to switch into the gunner seat and I'm going to siege. And that allows my team to be 4-man plus me in the protector, and then I can either attack from the protector or I can drop out of the protector to finish the team fight, then get back into the protector, or swap. You have this point further down, but I think this is important to add even here. Swap, if you're super coordinated, you're actually going to see a lot of swaps. I'm going to bust my super high cooldown things. We're going to do a crazy amount of damage. Maybe we get a kill. Maybe we force him to back up. Then I'm going to get in the protector and let that other person swap out so that he can burn his cooldowns, right? And you kind of get into this like rotational thing almost.
Yeah, and it becomes really difficult, obviously, in like your quick matches and your hero leagues because you don't have that level of conversation with the rest of your team. But hey, like you burn your ult, maybe you're low health, you can pop in the protector, you can take advantage of that extra health bar. Everything goes off cooldown while you're inside there too, right? So let's say you're Jaina, you do your Ring of Frost, you do your combo, you pop in the Triglav Protector, you're nice and safe for a little bit, and you don't have anything really to contribute after doing that anyways in a team fight. So it's important that you like get your ultimates off, come out to pop off your ultimate if you see the opportunity to rise. You can always get back in, which is an important thing to note. And it's a great little safety mechanism too if you're low on health.
Right.
Because you can get interrupted. Okay, there's a couple things about getting into the objective, into the vehicle itself. You can get in while it's moving, but if it moves out of your cast range for channeling, it will get interrupted. Taking damage doesn't interrupt you getting into it as well. So you can be taking damage in the thick of things as long as you're not getting CC'd. You can still get into the Triglav Protector as well. But one of the frustrating things is if it's moving around a lot and you're trying to get into the gunner seat, you won't be able to if it moves out of range. Just kind of be cognizant of that. Again, this might be more for coordinated play, getting in and out, but still, this is one of the ways you can take advantage of one of the unique abilities of the Triglav Protector.
Right.
Okay, so some more things too. The Triglav Protector has poor sieging abilities. It's got decent DPS. Its advantage is primarily because it can be super aggressive, and it's got that extra health bar. It's almost like an Avatar clone.
How are you defining poor siege?
It doesn't do a lot of damage to like structures.
Okay.
It's not like a Dragonite where you hit it like you auto attack 7 times and there's the keep gone, right? If you look at the DPS numbers, they're actually fairly low, and even with like having and like you can only disable a fort for. It's not even like that Cursed Hollow Garden Terror thing. Sorry, the Garden Terror, where you're like disabling something for like whatever it is, like many seconds. Your only disabling ability is to put your little hand thing on it as the driver. You disable a tower for 2 seconds, and then it's on a 16-second cooldown. Like that's not very effective. It seems like they've got a lot more of a team fighting kit in the Protector. It's great because it's a big body, right? You're going in, you've got a lot of health. You can burn through that health. You can soak up shots. You can soak up a lot of the DPS from the other team. And I think that's where the advantage is there, as opposed to like pushing down a fort. You can use it in a sieging environment, but you can't do a lot of siege damage with the Protector itself, is where I'm getting at with that poor siege DPS.
Yep. I would agree with that.
Yep.
Okay.
But some of the advantages, like I said, you've got the huge health bar. You've got really good engage with like that jump that it can do. It can charge to a unit very easily, and it can do a lot of damage at a distance for a frontline unit. Your gunner's got the scorching laser as well as the particle beam, which can do a lot of damage from a long distance, getting access to that backline or a retreating frontliner who's low on health as well. So just going over some of the abilities, I'm going to talk about some of the pilot and gunner abilities and like just some insights we have on them. So the Q ability, and it's really frustrating using a Tree Glide Protect for the first time, because when I first did it, I wanted to turn off Quick Cast, and it actually doesn't let you do that in settings. I know that was going around on Reddit recently too. Whatever your Quick Cast settings are, your on release settings, like that's what's going to be for the Tree Glide Protector. So at first, if you've got Quick Cast on, it's very disorienting. You don't know the range of your abilities or anything, so it takes a little bit of playing to get used to. But anyhow, your Q ability is the pilot. Okay, I thought I had these swapped. Is charge. So you can actually select a target. You can't just select an area, you have to select a target. It can be a building, it can be a minion, and it'll actually jump onto that minion, doing AoE damage. A decent amount, 225 AoE damage. It's got really good engage in the backline and low health targets, really help finish them off, especially if the gunner's on his point. It's on an 8-second cooldown, so it's not a terribly long cooldown. And weirdly enough, it does 200% damage to non-heroes, but you can't jump over walls too. This isn't like an Infernal. You can't jump over the wall to engage someone behind you. You have to make sure that wall is down before you try doing the jump. W is Rocket Fist. It does 200 damage, not a ton of damage, but it can root anyone for 1 second. It disables structures for 2 seconds. And it's on a 14-second cooldown, so it's a really long cooldown. Another neat thing is, too, that a lot of people notice is that it kills minions instantly. So you put it through a minion wave, it'll wipe all the minions. And I think it's the most effective as a root, personally, but it does do some disabling, but 2-second disable doesn't seem that powerful for me. One of the pilot's strongest abilities, I believe, is a shield emitter. This is on his E. It gives 450 armor to nearby allies for 3 seconds. It's kind of like a mini Lucio break it down. And you also gain 25 armor as the protector. It's on a 16-second cooldown, so you really have to use it sparingly. And I've seen a lot of people use it when there's not a lot of teammates around, thinking it's going to give them, like, I don't know, maybe it gives you 25 armor and big whoop, but maybe thinking that it's going to give yourself shielding as well, but it doesn't. It just gives shielding to your allies. So make sure you use it sparingly. The pilot actually has an auto attack too. I was actually playing with some Tree Glide people that they weren't auto attacking anything. I'm not sure if they didn't know. It does 210 attack. 0.8 attacks per second, so it's 168 DPS if you do the math for it, which is nothing crazy. It's enough, but it's not crazy. But you should still be weaving auto attacks in as the pilot, because it's surprisingly enough is one of your main damage abilities as the pilot. So the gunner, you've got 3 abilities that you can do a significant amount of damage. Particle cannon on the Q, you press Q, you activate it, and it actually increases the range that you can shoot it the longer that it's been activated for. You hit it again when you want to target a specific area, but it's got a long range. You can really access the backline with it. You can even go almost beyond your line of sight, your vision range with your Q. It only does 225 damage, but it's on a 4-second cooldown, so you can really spam this too. It's got great region. Again, like I said, not huge DPS, but it's a great finisher. Your Gatling cannon, your W, it's got 45 damage per bullet. You've got 32 bullets in a magazine. The way that it works is you press W, it toggles on your Gatling cannon, locking out all of your other abilities. You can't press Q or E, but it does like kind of like a tick, 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 two shots per second. Oh, sorry, no, 8 shots per second. It takes 4 seconds to discharge the whole 32 clip magazine, and it does about 360 DPS. So it does a decent amount of damage per second, and it's a nice thing about it. It's a really quiet ability. People don't notice it's on them. It's kind of got this surprise factor too. It's not a very long range, but it's good at melting down a nearby hero, even if it's a tank. You can toggle it on or off. So as soon as you run out of ammo, or if like say your particle cannon comes off and you want to use it, you can toggle it off so you can go back to using your other abilities. And then when it's off being used, it'll recharge. It takes about 8 or 9 seconds to recharge. I was trying to time it back to full ammo. So you can toggle it on or off as you want. And I'd use it kind of like weave it in between your Q and your E if you can. Your E ability is your wombo combo bit. If you can have a pilot with or anyone with good CC, you toss a scorching laser on a target or on a whole bunch of targets, it blows up for 500 damage after a 1 second delay. It's not a lot of initial damage, but the boom afterwards is what you want to hit. It's 10-second cooldown, so it's not a ton of cooldown, and it's vector-based targeting. So this is very similar to Zul's skeleton mages. You can, and the range is pretty far, and when you do the vector targeting, you can go to the edge of your target range, and you can direction out away, so you can get it to be like a ridiculously long distance away if you need to. But because that 1 second delay, and it's pretty obvious when it's on the ground, people are going to move out of the way of it. So make sure that you combo it with CC. You can get a lot of damage out of this, especially it works really well with that Rocket Fist as a combo finisher. Okay, so that's my Tree Glove Protector, and I took a lot of time trying to figure out all that stuff about it. But still, I think it's very important to like know all that stuff about the Tree Glove Protector going in. Okay, so finally, we're going to talk about what heroes are going on this map. Because I looked at Hot Slogs, and while Hot Slogs is Hot Slogs, you can't, you got to take things with a grain of salt. There were some kind of surprises in here. LiQuiud, let's see if we can figure out the reasoning for some of these.
Okay.
Now, what I did is, if you look at Hot Slogs, you'll see heroes at the top. You'll see like a Nazebo or whatever. They're top of all maps. They're pretty high up on Volskaya as well. But that doesn't necessarily mean he has an extra advantage on Volskaya. That just means he's a strong hero in general at the moment in terms of win percentage. So what I did, I looked at the difference between their average win rate and the hero's win rate on Volskaya. So I can see where they have that advantage by being on Volskaya compared to other maps. And that's what I compared here. So the number one hero that came out, probably not too much of a surprise, is the Lost Vikings. They perform 6.5% better on Volskaya than other maps. And I think a lot of this is going to come down to like, they can split soak during a very long objective phase. We've also got Kel'Thuzad 6% higher than other maps too, maybe because he likes when people are standing in fixed areas because he can blow things up a little bit easier. Ana, surprisingly, is up there, 4.6% higher than other maps. Chromie, Abathur, maybe against split soak. Diva, Murky, longer time to push down a lane. Zool, Kael'thas. They're all performing significantly better on this map than other maps. Do you see any sort of trend here? Like the one big question mark for me is probably Ana.
I mean, TLV is like super obvious, right? Like any map, any 3-lane map with this type of design, TLV is going to be strong on. The same with Abathur. I think TLV ends up being stronger than Abathur just because you can throw one of them, like you can still push the lanes easier with TLV than Abathur on this kind of map. But I kind of...
And it's a body in the objective.
Right.
Too. And you can get someone in the pilot, and you can push, you can do it all.
And Schizophrenic, right? Like Ana is like way OP in sustained fights.
And that's what
so that makes sense. Like this whole map is sustain, right?
And it's minimum of 1 minute spent at the objective.
Right.
It's not like a Cursed Hollow where like that might be over in 10-15 seconds, that fight for the trib, right? You're there for an extended period of time.
Which is why you see like and actually looking at these heroes, a lot of them do stronger on sustained maps, right?
Yeah.
Kel'Thuzad does a lot of damage easily. Chromie, same thing. Abathur, the longer you guys are fighting over the point, the longer he has to soak. Diva can sit there for days.
Yeah, just health bar after health bar. Yeah.
Right. Murky, my egg is nearby. Zool split pushes while you're at the objective, right? Kael'thas is like strong. It's an enclosed space. Of course, Kael'thas is going to do better for you.
I had a very salty Murky I was playing with the other day. We ended up winning the game, probably because of him, and he was probably right to be salty a lot of the time. But I mean, it's amazing when you have that team fight on the objective, and everyone's so focused on that people seem to ignore Murky pushing down the lane, right? And you can get a lot of value, a lot more so than a Tree Glove Protector.
Right.
And one thing actually we talk about a lot with our Team League team, and Cavalier Guest has talked about in the past on the show too, is when you're looking at objectives, you don't just look at, okay, we have to get the objective. Like in a lot of cases, you can get more value by not getting the objective or stalling an objective out. For instance, it's very well known the first Punisher on Infernal Shrines doesn't do a ton. Like you're probably going to get maybe the top like wall or something, but there's an advantage to just kind of giving up the objective. Maybe like while they're doing that, you split soak a couple lanes, maybe push out the opposite lane, get the equivalent value, if not more, get an XP lead while they get that perceived to be high value objective. And I feel like Murky and the split soakers really can shine here because of the amount of time it takes to cap that objective, like 58 seconds minimum. That's a long time for Murky to push out a lane. So some of the heroes that were doing badly on this map, Dahaka, 9.3% worse than on his other maps. And Rexar,
There's not a lot of bush on that map.
I
for
know,
him.
and that's got to be the Dahaka problem. But 9.3% though, like you think that with split soaking being so valuable, even with lack of bushes, that would be something that Dahaka would shine at, like at least not 9% difference. And Rexar too, Mr. Point Control holding himself 8% worse in this map than other maps.
I think that's a fluke as people learn the map. I expect Rexar to go up.
Yeah, and that might be a low amount of games played because we know Rexar doesn't have a huge pick rate, so there's probably some statistical issues with that as well. Another surprise, Probius, and he's actually picked a lot in this map, but he's down 5.9% on this map compared to other maps. I'm not sure if people are just overvaluing him here, or maybe people are just getting adjusted. People are like, oh, Probius is going to be amazing on this map. And everyone's picking him up who isn't a Probius main because he's seeing not a lot of value here.
Ignoring Probius, the Tracer Tassadar that you were about to cover next surprises me the most.
Yeah, Tracer, Tassadar, Zeratul, Tyrael, Kerrigan, Sonya, they're all down below 3% from other maps as well. And a lot of those surprise me too, especially like say like your Sonya or someone who you think would have a little bit better sustain in those prolonged team fights. I mean, I guess maybe Tracer, you get burned down fast. You know, you need to get healed up before you can be effective again. You're kind of like, you know, in and out, and that's not as good for like sustained DPS. I don't know. But still a lot of interesting.
Dorsey had a good point for Rexar. And so maybe this won't come back up because I really didn't think about it hard enough before I opened my mouth. Go figure. On Braxis and Dragonshire where Rexar does better, there's 2 points.
So maybe that's it. He's just good when he's by himself in his bear against like maybe 1 or 2 other heroes, as opposed to that huge team fighting situation. Rexar is still one of those heroes. I had him in a brawl a couple weeks ago, and I cannot play that hero for life. I mean, I don't think I'm a bad Abathur or like the worst TLV player in the world, but for some reason Rexar, I just can't control that bear properly.
I am the worst TLV, Abathur, and Rexar. I can't do it. I can't do any of the 3 of them.
It takes that StarCraft skill set. I wish Mystic would play it.
I just don't have it.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to say about Volskaya Industries? Any more insight? I think we got like a pretty good solid base here.
It's a great map. It's a lot of fun to play. I haven't actually gotten it in a real game, so it's been like all AI games or like I sandboxed a while to play with it and get used to it. I think Blizzard learned from their mistake. It was either Hanamura or maybe when they put Haunted Mines back in, where they upped the amount of time, like the likelihood of you getting that map. And it was like you were always getting that map. Where with Volskaya, it feels like the odds just aren't high enough for me to get the map in actual play.
It's funny too, because previously a lot of people were like, oh, we don't want to play Haunted Mines or Hanamura. But now people are like, we really want to play this map. And it's getting a lot of positive feedback in general. Do you think it's going to get into the competitive pool for next year?
That's actually a good question. One of the things that Bags and I have been talking about primarily off stream is what we think they're going to do for 2018. Not just the map pool, but what are we going to see for like roster changes? What are we going to see for, is it going to be the same schedule? But to answer your specific question, I want to say yes, because I think Blizzard's really going to want it to be in the map pool. But if they do it like they did last time, where they had the player
players vote
council,
for it,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they brought a bunch of players in, they brought casters in, they brought, like, there was that I don't even remember what we called it, but I remember when it was happening at the time and we were all talking about it. Like it was a secret meeting in LA, right, where Blizzard brought all like the movers and shakers of what is now HGC, if you will, together to decide what the map pool was going to look like and to help kind of shape some of the HGC decisions that were made. So it'll be interesting to see if that's what happens. I was really hoping for press passes this year at BlizzCon, because I was going to like corner the a lot of the esports team to try and get answers to that. And the reason that so many of them are in California right now, Skids Frank, is they're all getting ready for BlizzCon. So like the week before BlizzCon games, they got to do photo shoots, they got to do interviews, they got to do like all like Blizzard has them booked solid. If they're BlizzCon teams already.
All right, well, hopefully we'll see this. I have a feeling we're going to see this in the rotation next go around. I don't know how HGC format's going to shake out for next year.
Right.
I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about that during BlizzCon, whether it's going to be exactly the same as it is this year or if they're going to have changes. I'm sure they're going to have changes based on recommendations from all the players from this year.
Right.
Okay. Well, LiQuiD, this may go on record as one of the shortest shows ever.
It might.
You know what? It must be because Mystic wasn't here, right?
Right. Let's blame Muppet Shroud.
Yeah, go figure. Like we always feel so bad that we hog the mic from Mystic so much. Then the week he's not here, we run out of things to say, and this is where we could use Mystic the most. And yet he's not here. He's in puppet form. Unfortunately, he'll be joining us again next week. But on that note, I think it's time to sign off. So thanks everybody for listening to the Nexus Trolls. Here's the Storm podcast, which we stream live on this Twitch channel, twitch.tv/trollsgg, every week on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. LiQuiD, where can people find you on the interwebs?
So the best place to find me is at LiQuiDGG on Twitter, LiQiuDGG. I tweet when I'm going live. I tweet when I'm doing things. I retweet various interesting news that I come across. I retweet Trolls GG, the Nexus Trolls, and Troll and HCC things. So that's the best place to find me. Hopefully soon, you and I are gonna get together and start streaming some stuff together soon. So then you can find me at Twitch, also LiQuiDGG, but for now, Twitter.
Cool. You can find me at Daz Hots, and you can find Mystic at Mystic Shroud. And I gotta stop promoting Mystic so much because his Twitter account is starting to get more active than mine. I gotta be careful.
Look out now.
I know. So I can also thank all our patron supporters over at patreon.com/trollsgg. Again, if you like the show and if you're looking for support us, you can do so over there at patreon.com/trollsgg. Look, I think we got.
I want to throw something out real quick. I'm sorry. Did you know that Mystic has an avatar on Twitter now?
Oh, what? Are you serious?
He has an avatar on Twitter
The one
now.
week I don't check is the week that he actually put something up.
I was like, wait a minute. You are still leading the followers by about 20, but he finally has an avatar. So check out Mystic Shroud. He doesn't tweet very much. I'm trying to help him along with that.
But his account is progressing. He's got an avatar. He still has the default blue color scheme, but we'll work on that one next. So LiQuiD, do we get some BlizzCon swag in this week?
We did get some BlizzCon swag, and if you happen to follow any of the 3 shows, you got to see a picture of said swag. We ordered a bunch of pinhole sunglasses that we'll be giving away at BlizzCon. And if you can't find Mystic or Daz, you'll definitely be able to find me at Hall B, where I will be planted in front of the BlizzCon HGC stage.
So how do they look? Because I haven't seen them in person yet.
They look pretty good. I mean, they're bulk order sunglasses that are pinholed, right? So, but they look good, man. They look good. They're definitely gonna be fun to give those out. Because we got a couple other goodies we're looking at.
Are you gonna be able to fit them in your carry-on?
Oh yeah. It might not. I will probably not take a carry-on. I'll probably take a regular bag in my laptop bag.
Yeah.
Only because I'm gonna probably bring enough stuff that we can try to do a show while we're there. We'll see how it goes.
We're definitely going to try our best. It's going to be, I've heard if you try and do shows at BlizzCon, it's going to be, you're setting yourself up for very late nights, but we're committed, and I definitely want to get at least a show in during the BlizzCon venue, granted that we have great Wi-Fi or whatever the place we're staying.
One, we should also point out, and I don't know if you happen to have that video loaded or not, but we should definitely point out that, Con Before the Storm is the weekend or the day before. So Con Before the Storm is Thursday night, and I will be there doing a Heroes panel along with Bacon, who has been on Troll and HGC a couple of times, and a number of other people. It's not like it's only the 2 of us.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a bit more about it next week as well. We're in the process of trying to schedule in Ro from Realm Maintenance Podcast, who's one of the organizers of the event. We might be doing a special segment with him later this week, and we're going to re-air it on our next show, talking about Creators of the Storm and exactly what that's all about. Or not Creators of the Storm, Calm Before the Storm.
No, Creators of the Storm is something else we're working on.
That's another great
year.
thing. It's something. It's an event we're probably going to be doing in January. We did one, I think it was in July, where we did a whole bunch of podcasters and creators from the Heroes community put together into like a tournament format. It was hosted by Haloran. It was an amazing event. We're looking forward to doing that again in January. But we'll keep posted for more information about that. I guess that information slipped out a little bit quicker than I meant it to. That's quite all right. You can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you happen to find your podcasts online. You can also visit our website, which is nice and shiny and sparkly, at trolls.gg/TheNexusTrolls to watch this and past shows, along with past video streams, which can also be found on our YouTube channel. For announcements about the show in general, here's the Storm News. You can follow us at TheNexusTrolls on Twitter. And if you want to hang out with us and the Trolls community in-game, you can /join TrollsGG in-game or join our Discord channel, trolls.gg/Discord, for more information on how to do that. Finally, if you need to get in touch with us, you can do so by emailing us at TheNexusTrolls@TrollsGG if there wasn't enough other ways to get in touch with us other than that already. Anyhow, LiQuiud, thanks again for helping me host a great show. Mystic, Sock Puppet Mystic, thanks for hosting as well, even though you're sitting there in silence the whole time. And everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for living. Thanks for living. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.